Welcome to Quote and Conquer, the podcast where powerful words meet powerful action. Let's conquer one quote at a time. People don't follow what you tell them, they follow what they can relate to. Hi, everybody. It's Joey Walters. Welcome back to Quote and Conquer, the podcast where powerful words meet powerful action. Most people think that people follow logic, titles, or even the best idea, but that's not true. People follow connection, emotion, they follow meaning. And if they can see themselves into what you are saying, they will believe it, they will invest in it, and they will follow. You see, today I'm going to talk about something and a skill that everybody needs in every walk of life. And without further ado, I want to get into this week's quote. So, this week's quote comes from somebody that helped change and revolutionize our world. And it's Steve Jobs. And it's this: the most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. Not the richest person, not the loudest person, not the most credentialed person, the storyteller. The person who can make others feel, believe, and imagine the things that they are saying. And this is a game changer because people will follow, trust, and invest in you if you can tell a story that relates to them. So today I really want to break down something for you. Most people overlook this, and that is the power of storytelling. Because it's not just marketing or sales, but it's leadership, influence, and it's life itself. So I'm going to unpack this. What Jobs was really trying to say by this quote, the truth, and how I learned this the hard way in my own life, and how we can start telling stories that actually land and move people, and the 5 actionable steps that you can start taking today. But before I get into that, here's the reality. Every day, whether you realize it or not, you are selling. And you're not just selling to people, you're selling your ideas, your vision to yourself, your credibility, your leadership. And if your story doesn't land, influence, and have people stop and listen and relate to it, you will never move forward in your life. So now I want to get in and talk about Steve Jobs. And what I want to do is talk about things that most people don't know. Most people see Jobs as a tech genius, the man behind the iPhone, the iPod, and Apple's incredible comeback. But here is what most people don't realize. He wasn't the best engineer, he wasn't the best programmer, but he worked on being the best storyteller. When Jobs returned back to Apple in 1997, the company was almost bankrupt. People had stopped believing in their products, they weren't selling, and the company had most of its talent leave. So, what did Jobs do? He told the story. Not about the features, not about the specs, about the identity and why people should care, and what about believing in Apple could make them become better. And this is how the campaign started. Think different. It came to life. He didn't just sell computers, he sold a movement, a vision, a belief system. And people don't buy what you do, they buy on the story, that how it makes them feel and how it allows them to become the person that they want to become. Hi, everyone. Quick interruption from the episode. If this is speaking to you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification because you don't want to miss out. And share it with someone who may need it. The link is in the episode notes. It only takes a moment and it can change someone's life. I believe in divine timing, and that can put the right message in front of the right person at the right time to make a huge difference. So let's make this happen together. And without further ado, let's get right back in the episode. So now I want to get really personal and I want to share my storytelling journey. And I want to share a turning point in my career, a moment that changed everything about how I lead, present, and influence. And there was a point when I realized that people weren't hearing what I was actually telling them. And I'd give presentations, I'd pitch ideas. Even in my personal life, I would lead meetings. And even though I felt that I was right because I did my research and I knew my stuff and I was educated, I felt that something was off and missing. And people weren't connecting and the message wasn't landing. And the truth was, I wasn't failing at explaining my ideas. It was the fact that I didn't know how to tell a story to make these ideas relate to the people that I was talking about, both in my professional and my personal life. So I made a decision. I hired a coach, someone who specialized in writing and storytelling, and someone who could teach me how to truly understand people and how to tap into their pain points and how to make sure that I created moments in time for them that would take them back to nostalgia, to the struggle, to the victory, and everything and how it related back to their life. So, what we started doing was analyzing the experience that I had overlooked. So, I worked with my coach and I did my own research and I started asking questions to myself that I never asked before. And questions like, what were the moments that shaped you that left an impact? Where did you feel fear, doubt, and failure? And how did you overcome that? And what would make someone listen to the feeling inside of them and relate to them? And so we dissected every story that I thought was trivial. I learned how to frame experience and emotion and create a journey. And not just about facts and bullet points, but the struggles and how I came from a weakness point of view and to connect the points so that way it would relate to them. I worked day and night, late nights. I worked on this to make sure that this practice would be very, very, very important. And I apply this to the podcast every single episode to ensure that I'm not only relating my story, I'm also relating a story that relates to you. And that's why I give you 5 actionable takeaways. So before I get into the 5 actionable takeaways, I wanted to talk about one session that really stand out when I was working with my coach. And that's when he said, Joey, stop trying to prove yourself. Take them to a moment in time. Let them feel it and live it with you. And let them understand how they can create an image in their mind. And so I started doing that. Slowly I started talking more confidently. I would tell stories. I would make sure that I didn't feel pressure. I wasn't scared. I wasn't scared of failing. But what I remembered was, how can I make this connect to somebody else? This wasn't about me. This was about them. People don't remember what you say. They remember how you make them feel. So I made sure that I practice and see how my presentations and my communication would land with people and how I would use energy and tonality and take analogies and other stories and relate them so that way people could really feel like I was in their mind. Not in a negative way though, but in a storytelling way. And this skill is a superpower in any walk of life, whether you're going to get a coffee, whether you're leading a team, whether you are presenting in front of people. It is so important to have this in leadership, in influence, and in life. Quick interruption from the episode. Your past is lying to you and has been chaining you down for long enough. I know this firsthand. But here's the great news. My book, Breaking from the Chains of Your Past, is a system I use to rebuild my identity, and it'll show you how to break free and create the future that you deserve. And here is the deal. If you attend my free masterclass by clicking the link below, I'll give you the book for free. No strings attached, just transformation. What are you waiting for? Your future starts now. So now I'm going to give you 5 actionable takeaways that you can do in order to be the best storyteller in your life. Number 1, stop selling information, start giving meaning, and start helping. Most people think that they have enough data, slides, and credentials and that people will follow them, but that is nothing further from the truth. Facts inform, but stories transform. And when you communicate, you know, it's so important to lead with emotion first and logic second. So, for example, instead of saying this product features X, you say, hey, here's a person that was struggling without this product, and this is how their product transformed their life, and you give them a solution. People connect to feeling first and logic and facts second. Number 2, turn struggle into connection. Your struggles are not weaknesses, they're bridges and they're moments in time. And so think about your audience. What pressures do they face? What challenges keep them up at night? Show your vulnerability side and connect a story. So instead of saying, I have gotten from this point to this point, build trust and reliability and have them win alongside you. Number 3, make others the hero. A mistake that I see many leaders and entrepreneurs make is that they tell the story only about themselves. instead of thinking about their audience first. Think about what's possible for them. Frame your story so that way the listener is the hero in the journey. They can see themselves transform, they can see the vision, they can see the possibility, and they can see themselves living it day in and day out. Instead of saying, I've built this company, you could say, here's the process that transformed so many people's lives, including people just like you. Stories resonate when people see themselves winning alongside you and not just watching you win. Number 4, practice your story. Storytelling is a skill. It's not a talent. You just don't wake up one day and become a compelling storyteller. You have to practice it, refine it, and rehearse it, just like anything. The reason why professionals make things look so easy is because they practice it day in and day out, and they have perfect practice. Write down your stories, write down your fears, your failures, your aha moments, and test them with small audiences, friends, and mentors. Notice what lands, what connects, and ask for feedback. Be intentional about telling the story, and the more stronger and practice you get at this, the more influence you'll have on other people. And number 5, align your story with your life. The hardest and the most important step is to have integrity and make stories believable. If your actions don't match your message, people will automatically feel that you're unauthentic. And that's not what you want. Every story carries a promise. If you follow this, if you believe this, this will happen. If you don't do this, you won't get to where you need to be. So stories need to live. You have to show up. That has to feel emotion. You have to walk the talk, and you have to be consistent. When your actions align with your story, people will believe you, they'll trust you, and they'll follow you, and they will invest in you. So I'm going to end with this. Steve Jobs understood something that most people don't. You can have the best product, the best strategy, the best idea, and without a story that relates to people, it will die in silence. People don't follow logic, they follow meaning, connection, they follow a story that they can believe in. So ask yourself this: what story am I telling about who I am and where I'm going? And when you tell it with truth, courage, and intention, you just don't gain influence. You will gain followers, clients, and impact in your life. And that is how legacies are built. Well, that's all for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it and you got something out of it, and that way you can go and implement it. Remember, I always say, don't just hear the words, live them. You only live life once. So what are you waiting for? The world is yours to conquer. Definitely running with